how are you? It's me and Jean Harville, and I am the founder of Helping Kids with Reading and also Raising Kids Who Love to Read by Jean Harville Facebook group. I'm also the creator of the Reading Confidence Academy. And so I wanted to talk today about hi Caroline, I want to talk to you about Shifting Your Thinking series. We've been in this series of Shift Your Thinking series, okay? And so today is you don't have to believe that. You can help your kids to change, to have choice in changing in the way they believe about themselves, okay? So we're going to kind of go through this, but first we're going to talk about us as moms, as parents, and how we can change our own thinking and how we can go about doing that, because for us, in order for us to help our kids change their thinking, we also need to help change our own thinking as well, right? Sort of, it's called transformed people transform others, right? Transform people. So here we go. 3 points, okay? 3 things here. So first off, an event happens, okay? So you think about the thoughts. So you feel the emotions that are created because of this event, and you think about how it impacts the decisions that you make all the time, all through your life. So let's say, for instance, for me, I moved around a lot when I was growing up in school, and I landed in it was called junior high at that time, with the 7th through 9th grade, I believe. And so I landed in an 8th grade. Everyone had already had developed their friend groups from elementary school, moving into the middle school. And so here I am, a loner person, popping in, right? And I wasn't like an outgoing type personality. It just wasn't in my nature. And I also was still trying to learn the ropes, trying to figure out where things are, where my locker was, and the timing of, the bell system and that sort of thing. So I became kind of a target, right? I was a target for some girls who thought that they would just make fun of me and bully. And you know what? And I think the middle school years are so rough and tough for all kids, because those are the years of us trying to decide and seek who are we, and exactly how we fit in among our peers, right? And it's really those formative years before you start is really very volatile, before you can finally figure out who you are, jump into high school, refine that, and then move on. So I think the middle school years are really kind of hard. Everyone's seeking about checking themselves against somebody else, and really noticing how someone else is like this, and maybe I want to be like that, or maybe you know what I'm saying. So it's that time of turbulence, of our bodies are changing, our minds are changing, and everything. So if your kids are going through the middle school years, listen up for this. And those who are now elementary school, they're going to be heading into those middle school years. This is really, really important, okay? Because this is when thoughts, things happen, and then we have a thought about it, we have an emotion about it, and it becomes belief for us, okay? So what happens is, like, I was new and I didn't really have any friends, and I was still floundering around trying to figure out when to get to my locker and fumbling with my locker combination. And there already were groups that had already developed, and so I was kind of an outsider, but I was used to that because I'd moved all through my years, and I felt confident enough that I could figure things out, right? But in those middle school years, you start when socialization becomes really important, and this group of girls, of bullying girls, were not very nice to me. They would physically trip me and just do some mean things that, when I would find out about them, just really hurt my heart, right? And so you start developing this thought about yourself. Okay, so number 2, notice negative thoughts that run through your brain as you embark on, in your life. And like what happened is, some of these things that happened to me at that point in my life also caused things later on as an adult for me to play small. I'm not going to raise my hand. I'm not going to volunteer. Why would I want to do that? Because everyone's looking at me and they're judging me, right? All that comes from those early formative years of being judged, in the middle school level, and wanting to play small, not wanting to stick yourself out there, right? And so you develop these beliefs that you're not important and that you're not valued. And even as much as your parents tell you so, that's just what you believe. And what happens is your subconscious brain says, okay, Jean, we're going to protect you, because most of your decisions and actions come out of your subconscious brain, which runs like 80 to 90% of your brain. And so that's how you portray yourself. That's how you're going to keep yourself safe. Your subconscious brain says, watch out, here comes that group of girls, step aside, or pretend like you're drinking water out of the water fountain, or don't face them, and so you do these maneuvers just to protect yourself because you don't want to have any insults or, coming at you, right? So it really shows up later in life as an adult too, because, you be put on committees and maybe you want to make yourself small and not rock the boat, or just other things that happen. I have to step out and I have to figure out how to go vote, or how to, for me, I did 2 international adoptions. My husband and I did that. I had to figure out all the ropes to that. That was really, really scary for me. I had to drive around from different towns and the courthouses and ask for I forget what they're called, that do all the documentations, Anyway, but those are things that I had to step out of my comfort zone to do. And so what happened later on, like point number 3, is that deliberately choosing to not believe these false identities. How do you do that, right? When they're hardwired into your brain, right? Well, one of the nice things that happened for me is, as I look back, is in that 9th grade year, we were trying out for the high school drill team. And for some reason, I thought, hey, I'm going to try that, right? Well, all these other girls that were in that bullying group are also in there as well. So I just marched along and I did my thing and I listened, and I was actually pretty good. And I got on the team. And so did some of the other girls too. And they were kind of looking at me like, she got on. How about that? So that raised my status a little bit, in their eyes. So I thought, or, my thinking, but actually what it was doing, it was raising my own status in my own eyes, right? And so as we moved into high school, I got into the same service club as some of these other girls got in the same service club. And I thought, there you go. There's proof. There's proof that I can change, my thinking about myself, because there's proof that I'm valued and that that I am as good as anybody else. And so that proof would help me to run those thoughts through my brain to kind of refute all those negative ones, to kind of rewire my thinking, right? So this is kind of the process that happens with our kids at school. All right. If they struggle in learning, struggle in reading, they know that they do. They know they're not as good as their classmates. And so they create these barriers for themselves. They may create these feelings of not as good, not good enough. I don't know how to do that. That's confusing for me because it probably was taught to them in a way that's not conducive to the way their brain thinks, and the way the reading programs, the curriculums that are in the schools. Now, you all that homeschool, you all have a better sense of how your kids learn because you're right there in front of them. But in a school system, they have the certain curriculums that they have to move through. They move through at a very fast pace. And if your child is one of those that's falling behind because they don't get it, it's not being taught to their strength of how they learn, they're going to start feeling, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. And these negative thoughts will run through and wire through their brain. And so their subconscious brain is like, well, let me keep you protective. We'll make sure that when you go near a book, we're going to say, hey, remember, you can't read, so don't pick up that book. That's not going to feel very good for you, right? And so your child starts pulling back and becomes unmotivated to want to learn. It's almost like their lights turn off. And they just don't know. They have running stories in their heads. I'm not smart enough. I can't read. I can't figure out these words. I don't know what I've read. At the end of the story, I can't figure this out. Are y'all feeling that? Yeah. And so one of the things that, it's like one of the things for our kids who are struggling that way is finding their passion. And this is what you can do as parents, is to find out what they are good at. And it might be the screens, it might be gaming, and that's okay. Because chances are they're getting the dopamine hits from that gaming that motivates them. You can see their eyes light up because they want to do the gaming, and they're good at it because that hits the part of their brain where they can do that visual spatial. They can think through the process of what's going on in the game. Obviously I've not played these games, so I don't know exactly what all goes on, but you see your child just lit up and they are just pump, pump, pump. You're like, well, why can't they be like that when they have a book in front of them, right? Well, a book doesn't necessarily give you dopamine hits when the stuff that's in that book is not easy for them to do, right? And so there is that difference there. And so when the kids' lights are turned on, whether it's through gaming or if it's through, creating their own game, or it's through soccer, and or through something else that they can do during COVID time, right? When we can't really go out and have a soccer team or a soccer game, but basketball, playing basketball, and really shooting hoops outside and hitting those baskets. Those are motivational for them. They're turning on their lights. They're excited. And when they get a chance to show those things that they are good at doing, they're going to be more likely to be motivated to tackle that tough thing, because they know in their brain, they've already wired into their brain, I am good at basketball. I can throw that basket in there. I am really good at knitting. I know how to knit. I can make hats. I can make scarves. I can make whatever. I'm a great cook. I love to help my mom cook, and I love reading the cookbook. There you go. There's reading, right? And so when you find your child's passion and they start creating those thoughts that they are good at it, their emotions that they love doing this, they create beliefs that they are good at something. They're good at the cooking, they're good at the basketball player, they're good at gaming, and whatever it is, that is turning on the lights. Then they're more likely to want to tackle that tough thing, called reading in a book. And so I think, those, there we go. You have, the statements that they're telling about themselves, and you want to help them to refute those statements. And the way we do that is by giving them the passion and showing them and giving them the opportunity to do things that they are good at, and that correlates to the way their brain is wired and the way their brain works, right? And so, but just thinking like happy thoughts is not going to work. And I know that in the school system they talk about mindset, and you hear about mindset all the time, and a lot of times it's like, well, just think happy thoughts. It doesn't always work that way for changing the thoughts. It is actually a wiring that goes on in the brain and breaking the old beliefs and creating those new beliefs. And it is a process that can be we go through to do that. So I'm going to go further into this process in the Reading Confidence Academy, which will be opening in mid-November, and both specific reading skills that are the best skills for helping our kids who think and learn differently will be in there, and then shifting our own thinking and helping so that we can help shift our kids' thinking will be part of that academy as well, to turn on their motivation to learn. And the premise of the academy is to do just that thing. Okay, so watch for the wait list. I'm putting a wait list together, and all the wait list is you just sign up on it, and you'll be the first to be notified when the academy series, it'll be like a webinar series, it'll be a workshop series that we'll be doing, and you'll be notified like when this is going to start and how to get to that. Okay, and so I'll be putting that system together and have that shortly for you. So thank you for showing up live, and if you catch the replay, thank you for watching the replay, and thank you for jumping in. I really appreciate it. And if this resonates with you and you want to go a little bit deeper with me, I'm going to put in the comments a link to my scheduler, and just for a 15-minute connection call, and you can ask me questions about how to rewire some thinking, or maybe your own thoughts. Maybe you're thinking, I'm struggling with the way I am viewing my child or whatever, and we can talk in just a few minutes about that for about 15 minutes, and it's a Zoom call, or it would be a Zoom call like over Zoom. If you all know what Zoom is, you should know because we all are on Zoom, right, for COVID. So I'm so glad, Carolyn, that this has been helpful to you. I really appreciate that you are mentioning that. So I will continue in this, vein of us helping ourselves so that we can help our kids as well. So I will put that link down below, and I only have just a few slots on the calendar. So if you're interested, you can click that. Hey, Christy, how are you? You can click that link, and I look forward to chatting further with you. Okay, bye for now.